Hi, I'm Sharon Knight, and I am President and CEO of Hope Communities. I would like to welcome you to our Building Community Together check-in. We are a nonprofit that has been supporting the Denver metro area for over 40 years by providing housing, educational programs, and services. We've also focused on building community across all those years, knowing that together we are stronger than any of us are alone. And part of the reason we are doing this Facebook Live session is to continue building that community. And we've been hosting these shows Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 o'clock. We chose this format because this allows you to sign in and to comment. So there is a chat function at the bottom of your screen. And if you would like to take a second to sign in to let me know that you're watching, that'd be great. You don't have to, but it'd be nice to know that you're out there. Laura, thanks for joining us. And if you have any questions along the way, please write them in that chat function, and I will try to respond to them. I don't always look enough, but I will try. But you can also always send questions, comments, or requests for assistance to an email that we've set up, info@hopecommunities.org. We really want to know if you need our help. We're there for you, so use that freely to reach out to us. We do have a lot of information on our website, hopecommunities.org, but sometimes you want something more personalized, so please feel free to use that email. So what's some of the news that's hitting us now with this virus? It's been going on for weeks now, and I know it's a little tiring to still have to endure everything, but we don't really have a choice. So the stay at home order is in place for Denver still. Denver's mayor has suggested that we have a stay-at-home order through the first week of May, even though the governor, who's acting on behalf of the whole state of Colorado, has switched from a stay-at-home to a safe-at-home. And in the governor's viewpoint, because we have so many different environments and small towns, big towns, cities across the whole state, he's saying safe at home would mean that people could go back to about 60 or 65% of their normal activity. So still being very cautious, but starting to go back to work and in the community. The mayor, because of the density of population here, has suggested that we need to stay at home for one more week at a minimum. So, and he'll update us on how far that goes out as time evolves and we see what happens with the virus. Both of them are really strongly advising everyone to wear masks when they go out in public, to continue social distancing, which means to be at least 6 feet away, and also to be cleaning thoroughly and using sanitizer for your hands and also for surfaces that are around you. Oh, thanks for joining, Gwen. So the masks, I hope that everybody has a mask so far, but if you don't, cloth masks are pretty easy to make. I showed some directions for cloth masks in one of the earlier Facebook shows, which you could find online if you wanted to go back and check that out. That was a pattern that was sewed. It was easy to make, but you needed either a sewing machine or a needle and thread to sew it. You also could simply wear a bandana, or if you used a square bandana and folded the sides in and then folded those sides in again, then on the edges you'd have a piece that was maybe 4 inches deep and long, like a rectangle. And if you put elastic bands on either end, maybe 3 inches in, and then fold the sides in, you have a very nice mask that loops over your ears with rubber bands. I have worn one around town many times, and it doesn't look bad, and it really does protect you. So that's without any sewing whatsoever. We are getting some masks made, and we've distributed some, but we don't have enough to distribute to everyone that we run into yet. So we'll still keep looking for those, but try to find something that you can use for yourself when you go out in public. So grocery stores is where a lot of people are going because that's one of the essential things besides going to the doctors that you probably need to do to get food for survival. So here's some tips about the grocery store. Don't go to the grocery store or anywhere else for that matter if you're not feeling well. You need to separate yourself from crowds. And certainly if you think you have symptoms of the virus, you need to stay away from everyone outside your household and even inside your household if you have that capability. When you go to stores, if you go early, they are the cleanest. So if you can get there right away, seniors who are 60 and above can actually get in an hour earlier on 3 days a week. So if you are in that age group, you might try to go that early, but otherwise try to go when they open up because it is cleaner. Always wear a mask when you go to the store. Don't handle things if you don't have to, and bring your own wipes and your own hand sanitizer. Most of the stores that I have been to lately have completely run out of wipes or they're not putting them out. So you need to be prepared to clean the handle of the shopping cart yourself and to sanitize if you are touching a keypad for your membership number or anything like that. So you need to come prepared. Stay away from other people in the store as much as possible. They've done some very nice things with making aisles one way and also putting tape on the floor to keep people 6 feet away. And if you can avoid bringing your kids or your family, do so. The less people in the store, the better. Don't hoard. We need to share. And if you can, pay with a credit card or a debit card or even a SNAP card, which looks like a credit card, so that you don't have to handle cash. You don't have to give cash over and you don't have to get it back from the store clerks. Now, the store clerks in many cases have a plastic shield between them and you, which is great, and they are wiping down the conveyor belt as much as possible, but staying away from them as much as you can is a good thing. Also, don't use your cloth bags. They're really suggesting that paper or plastic is better at this time. And then as soon as you get home, if you've had materials, packaging from the store, you want to wipe those off. If you have fresh vegetables and fruit, then you want to kind of wash those off and then wash your own hands very, very thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. So that you are as sterilized as possible after being in that public place. So again, if you have the virus, if anyone that you've been around has the virus, if you are showing symptoms and you're not sure it's the virus, those are the times that you really want to stay home. And you probably, if you have any of those symptoms, you want to call your doctor. Now, the 3 biggest symptoms that we've talked about would be a dry cough, a fever, and having aches and pains. But you can also have other symptoms that might include blueness of the lips, really hard time breathing, very, very difficult breathing, being nauseous, things like that. If you start to feel sick like you would for a flu, just still self-quarantine yourself. And then if it gets worse, to call your doctors. You really want to call them. You don't want to go right to the emergency room because they will probably check your symptoms with a telemed program, and then they may write you an order so that you can actually get a test. And then once you get the test, then you'll know more what your procedure will be like, because if you are sick, you want to be quarantined in your home for many, many days. And so they will tell you just what that looks like as you report your symptoms and as you get the test. And please comply with whatever they say. We never like to be told what to do or to be limited, but this is definitely for your own good and for the people around you's good as well. So what is happening with Hope? Well, next week, more staff will be on site, and they will continue to also support our residents and clients in the broader community remotely by telephone and by conference call. But they will also continue to have one-on-one meetings by appointment only. And if you have an appointment, you'll be allowed to come into the office, one person at a time, maybe two if you're a couple from a family. So you can come in, you'll have to wear a mask. You will have to use hand sanitizer and keep social distancing. So those are the types of things that we're going to do for every meeting that we have. We won't be holding any classes or any activities that have several people in them. It's just not the time yet to bring groups of people together. So we will do our best in bringing that back because we love getting together with you for workshops, for social gatherings with all of our residents. And I know this is a special celebratory time for many of our residents, but we just can't right now. So we often talk about statistics and the things that are happening and the number of people who get sick and procedures for you. And today I just want to focus a little bit on some of the good things, some of the good news that's been happening. More than 100,000 people have recovered from the virus in the US. So people are getting sick. There's a lot of people getting sick, but we've had a lot of people who have run the course and they are better. So things can get better. In Colorado, the curve is leveling, which means that the number of people affected by the virus has been slowing down. The growth has been slowing down. And there's so many heartwarming stories about people who have beat the virus. 3 of them that come to mind. One was Anita Hernandez, who was 96. So we've heard a lot about seniors being vulnerable. This woman has fully recovered. Ines Santa Cruz is 55-year-old. She's a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 9. She's completely recovered. Ravi Thurmond was just on the news this weekend. 50-year-old, a lot of underlying health issues, and she was on a ventilator for 15 days, and now she's sparkling and smiling and doing great. So we are seeing some very positive results of people who have gotten treatment by our amazing medical and healthcare professionals out there. Something else that's good is that many of the chefs and the restaurant groups around our area have been really diverting their attention and their time to prepare meals for healthcare workers. Daniel Young, who is the chef and owner of Jive, and Alex Sider, who is the owner of 4 restaurants in Denver, actually, has been making meals. Michi Italian, Teriyaki Madness Chain, the Gastamo Group, and many others have been offering to bring or send healthy meals to our healthcare workers in Denver. So, and it is happening in Boulder too, in other towns. Zolo Grill, for instance, is taking meals to the Boulder Community Hospital. So the generosity of chefs keeping their restaurant folks working and doing good in the community has been really awesome. I think one of the good things that I've heard about also is that we've been encouraging, if you can get out, and please, if you're sick, don't do this, but if you can get out and you have the funds to do so, to support our restaurants by getting takeout meals. And one of the heartwarming stories that I have heard, I think heard it twice, is that people have left their stimulus checks, $1,200 checks, for restaurants who have been supporting the community and were helping them through this trial and tribulation period. So some really nice things to pay back restaurants, and we're sure hoping that the restaurants make it through and that we can all at some point in the near future get back to visiting these great eating establishments. Many of the distilleries who also have truncated business, of course, during this time because we can't congregate, have been making hand sanitizer and sending those sanitizers to nonprofits and also healthcare professionals. We at Hope have been really blessed to get sanitizer from Mythologies Distillery, Denver Distillery, and Ironton Distillery. So if you are looking to support a distillery and you can afford to go and buy liquor, those are three that have really done some really great things for Hope Communities and for our broader community. So many people across the Denver metro area are also making masks for friends, for family, for healthcare workers, and for nonprofits like us who are doing direct service. It's been wonderful for me to get some masks for staff and volunteers and some for our residents. We had Beth did some masks for us last week. Mark Kling did some masks, and Mike Chin, a friend of mine, sent masks all the way from China that we could share with staff and residents. So people are being very kind. We don't have enough to give all of our residents yet. So if you are a seamstress and can bring some masks, we would love to be able to distribute them. When I was doing food distribution last Wednesday, I gave 10 away very quickly. People who live at our properties really need masks and want them. So if you're able to help, please just let me know, or send a note to info@hopecommunities.org. If you've just joined us a little bit late, my name is Sharon Knight. I'm President and CEO of Hope Communities, and it's really a pleasure to be checking in with you today. So talking about masks, there's a group called Operation We Can Sew that is associated with some healthcare organizations, and they've encouraged people who are at home to do face masks for medical professionals. In the last 15 days, they've already gotten 6,000 masks, and they have 2,500 volunteers who are helping to sew for them. So they've been asked, they have all kinds of orders coming in, they've been asked for 40,000 masks in the next month. So it would be great if you can help us, but this group also desperately needs masks for healthcare professionals. What else? There's a side benefit, if you can believe it, to the virus and to our stay-at-home order. One of the benefits is that our environment has seen positive change. So the use of cars has affected the carbon emissions, and what I estimated 5% of the global total for emissions. So there's a lot less pollution. There's the biggest drop in nitrogen dioxide, which adversely affects our breathing. It also, the lack of pollution helps us to see our mountains better. And NASA scientists who measure these things say that the air is cleaner now since it's the cleanest it's been since they've been measuring, and that's been since 2005. So our air is looking a lot better. Wild animals have been roving and roaming through the national parks much more freely. So there's lots of webcams out there looking at animals, and whereas they only come out every once in a while, they're really having free reign. There's a lot more gardening and planting going on, so we're using the home time to also show kids how to grow vegetables, which is absolutely awesome. There's nothing like fresh vegetables. So in Douglas County, there was a young man who was about to have his 18th birthday, a man with special needs, and his mother asked a few people in the town if they would drive by with their cars to gesture and say hi and happy birthday. And he just loved cars, and she thought that he would really like that. Well, it was something that the community could really rally around, and it ended up that there were thousands of cars that actually drove by, facilitated by the local police. So it absolutely made his day. It's a very special birthday to have all those people who cared enough to go by and wave and even give him presents. So it was pretty awesome for him. Healthcare workers is another good thing. Were treated to free gas in Aurora this last Saturday. So Costco and Office Depot and the Tailgate Tavern all chipped in to make that happen. And knowing that proms are normally big for high school kids, the Aurora Public School District teamed up with the city to host a virtual prom on this Saturday as well. So kings and queens were selected for each school, and it was a way for everybody to feel like there was something special for them, even though they couldn't get together. I saw a post about another family that had a virtual prom at their house and decorated everything up and had a special meal and so forth. So people are going really above and beyond. And speaking of that, there was also a story on CBS 4 about a single mom who had lost her job as a result of the virus, and she was really struggling to make ends meet. And viewers sent in about $500 to help that mom, and she used 200 of it to pay her rent, and then she used 300 of that money to buy food, to make sandwiches for people who were less fortunate than her. So the generosity of people has been overwhelming and heartwarming. And I know there's a lot more stories out there that I haven't captured. If you want to, oh, hi, Katie and Tom and David. Lots of people joining us. Thank you. If you know of other stories, please let us know. I mean, it is fun to focus on the good things, even though this virus has been pulling us down somewhat. And so if we can have a few good things that we focus on, I think it lifts us up during the day. You know, I like to share a quote. So I have a few more good things later, but I want to share this quote first by Gerald Brennan. One road to happiness is to cultivate curiosity about everything. Not only about people, but about subjects, not only about arts, but about history and foreign customs, not only about countries and cities, but about plants and animals, and not only about lichen rocks and curious markings on the bark of trees, but about the stars and atoms. Not only about your friends, but about the strange labyrinth we inhabit, which we call ourselves. Then, if we do that, we will never suffer a moment's boredom. Well, here are some things to make sure that you don't get bored in the coming weeks. There's some cool things happening online, a lot of virtual things. There's a cooking class by a maestro chef, Gucci Osterios, the restaurant, and Massimo Bottura is offering free classes. So this is a chef who's on Rodeo Drive, and most of us will never be there to see this food, but it's just exquisite food. And because he is on quarantine, he offered a class for people, and you can, I can post this to our site later. He is offering a class basically on Instagram that you can participate in, which is really fun. Now, I was able to participate in a cooking class this last Friday that was led by Jesse Bloom, who is a chef and a leadership facilitator in California. His group, which is called Sacred Kitchens, conducted a free class on Thai cooking on Friday, and I just thought it sounded like a lot of fun. There were about 30 people who were all in this conference call. You could see a matrix of all of their faces, and we all cooked together. It was very fast paced. It was really interesting to see all the different people and how they reacted, and everybody was asking questions throughout the whole thing. The food was amazing, and the cooking was fun, but the sense of community was the biggest thing I think he was pushing, because people were sharing something together, a love of food, but also just interaction with each other. So his group is at sacredkitchensf.com. And it's just a really cool way that he presents cooking. He actually brings business groups together regularly to build leadership, to strengthen teams over food. So really, really nice thing that you can participate in. He's going to be doing some periodic classes, so try to sign up for that. There are 2,500 museums and galleries around the world that are offering virtual tours. Museums like the Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, the Louvre in Paris. And I had a friend who said he did the virtual tour in the Louvre, and it was awesome. There's Botanic Gardens in Denver, the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History in Washington. So lots of museums are giving you a chance to see their collection online. National parks are also doing virtual tours like Yellowstone, Yosemite, Denali. If you wanted to get away for a vacation this summer and you don't think you can still see what you might have missed by going online. Lots of really cool zoos like the San Diego Zoo, which is amazing. The Monterey Bay Aquarium, the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago, they all have virtual tours. Even Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom, has a virtual tour, as does Legoland and SeaWorld. And if you really want to be exotic, there's a virtual tour of the Great Wall of China. And then NASA set up a virtual tour of the surface of Mars. So we're getting farther and farther away here to really see what's going on. And then Hawaii has some national parks, like the Volcano National Park and then Waikiki Beach. So those are all things you can view and learn and experience online. And then for fun, I've mentioned some dance classes before that are doing some virtual dance classes. And there are live stream concerts going on pretty regularly. I mean, some big names like John Legend and Chris Martin and Lady Gaga and the Indigo Girls, Death Cab for Cutie. So lots of live concerts that you can queue into. And if you don't have internet yet and you have kids, we're supposed to be getting free internet for kids. The schools are working with Comcast locally to get internet free for 2 months at least, and also to get some free hotspots. So if you need to have connectivity, let's please just reach out. And I know there's a long waiting line, and it could take some time for some of these things to happen. There's just such a big demand, but you should be able to get the resources that you need. So one thing I also do, and we've been working with the Denver Public Library on this, is that I usually do a book review, and then we will post a video of a book review after this live session. And then the Denver Public Library will provide us with a link to download this book. So if you are a member, if you have a card from the Denver Public Library, you can download books that you want to read. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to buy anything. You just get to read these really cool books. And if you don't have a card, you can sign up for that online as well. So please consider that. It's a really cool way to expand your horizons by reading something new. So the book that I'm going to talk about today is called The Glass Castle by Jeannette Wells. It is a really interesting book. It's a memoir of Jeannette Wells, growing up in a family with two very eccentric and dysfunctional parents. They're non-conforming. They just refute the mainstream of life. They live as squatters, and they're living off the land when they can, though sometimes they're in an urban setting and they can't do that. They're loving parents, but very dysfunctional, and the kids are raised in poverty with homeschooling and very little parenting. It's a really well-written book. It was turned into a movie in 2017 featuring Woody Harrelson, Brie Larson, and Naomi Watts. It was an interesting and good movie to watch, sometimes a little disturbing, but good movie to watch. But it wasn't quite as good as the book itself. And if you saw the movie and you kind of liked it, I still encourage you to read the book, because the book has more details. It's one of those books that is so much better than the movie adaptation. So please consider reading this. I think that you will really enjoy it. Now I'm going to end with another quote of sorts. It's really the lyrics, part of the lyrics of Alicia Keys' new song called Good Job, which she wrote to thank all of the essential workers out there. couple of the stanzas. You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard. There's no way to ever pay you back. Bless your heart. Know I love you for that. Honest and selfless. I don't know if it helps, but good job. Good job. You're doing a good job. You are doing a good job. Don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter. You're doing a good job. Don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter. Love the song. Love the sentiment. We want you who are watching today to know that you matter to us too. And we're there to support you and to help you however you need it. Please email us at info@hopecommunities.org. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know if you need some support. And always feel free to reach out to our staff. All of the contact information for our staff is on our website at hopecommunities.org. I sure hope you have a great week. I will talk with you soon. Bye.